Hey guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. Today we are joined by Will, who is kindly joined me to have a Q&A. I'm going to be asking him questions about how he started his YouTube channel and his radio shows.
Hi Matt. Hi Tom. Sorry, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, so we'll start off then with the Cobblers Vlogs kind of thing. Matt's been starting Cobblers Vlogs since he was 7 years ago with Loud Matty Gaming. Because I was curious to see how he kind of started it. He says 3 of his mates just started YouTube as a joke, seeing who got the most subscribers. Matt somehow won it, and then he just carried on from there. And and then he started doing the Cobblers games and stuff, which he absolutely loved. He loved doing the Cobblers games, recording them from a fan's perspective, and the views are really good. He also had his family's got Liverpool season tickets. We went to Liverpool games, and that got about 300k views to date now. So he's done really well on that perspective. But yeah, then Matt, of course, loved doing it, but new EFL rules meant you can't vlog at games anymore. They threatened to kick Matt out for the a 3-year ban, I think, from stadiums. And of course, Matt doesn't want to not watch football. So he had to stop for that reason. And then he just did reviews and stuff. And then I came out of school last year, wanted to do journalism. And I thought the best way to do it is I could start my own, but I knew Matt off someone, and I knew that I think it's worth a shot. And I asked him, and he said, yeah, sure, I'm happy to help and stuff. And we did exactly that. And I've been since helping him reviewing and previewing games. When I've been to non-league grounds, I've done vlogs of that because you're allowed to vlog at non-league games. Since the cancellation of football, we've done FIFA tournaments and bits and bobs like that. But it's been good, and then recently we've been nominated for the Football Content Awards, me and Matt. So that was good. And every interview I do, I always say the kind of the award is kind of Matt's side, because I've only helped him for the year. Matt's had a good 3-4 years of dedication to the channel. Of course I'll take my half of it because it's it's an award for both of us. But if we say we do win it come November, and we have to do a talk, I will say, it is Matt's channel, but clearly the impact of me has clearly helps it. But no, it's love doing it. We've managed to get a few interviews from it as well. So it's great that we're doing it.
Yeah. Okay. So I guess you got your radio show. What made you want to go into that sort of stuff?
Kind of similar, really. When I came out of school, it was weird because throughout school, really, I wanted to just do accountancy, I was really business mindset, and I thought I want to go into business. And then as of really then, I just kind of realized I don't want to be sitting at a desk, no disrespect to people who are accountants because the money's fantastic in it. I just didn't want to be that person to sit at a desk. And then I went on the Cobbler show on BBC Radio Northampton in year 10. 15, 14, and I absolutely loved it. And then I kind of thought, right, this is me. And I did the same in year 11, and I thought again, this is me. And that's when I really wanted to start do journalism. And then one night I just thought, you know what, let's have a look at local radio stations in Northampton. And I found a few, N-Life Radio, Inspiration FM, a couple of others. And I thought I gave them all emails. N-Life got back to me. They said, you want to come on and the breakfast show and chat about Cobblers for 10-15 minutes? I said, sure, no problem. I was very scared. Even though, N-Live Radio is not a big thing. It grew so much over this last year, but it's not, the main channel here in Northampton. I was still petrified of it. But I did it and I absolutely loved it. And then it kind of went on from there. I had the vision of having my own sports show on there, sat down with the managers, and we knew that we needed a second person because doing a sports show by yourself is not very easy. You need opinions in football, in any sport, really. Luckily, I met Connor Rutherford, who I do the sports show with now at college. We get on really well with each other. Some have some interesting debates, but, and then, went on from there, really, and then had the sports show now and absolutely love it. And, luckily from that as well, I got nominated for the in the Young Audio Awards for Rising Talent in radio, 16 to 18. So, what an achievement that was for me personally. And it kind of just shows, that anything's possible. And if I didn't email that radio station that day, who knows where I'd be right now.
Yeah. So I saw that you went on to, was it ITV East Anglia, was it?
Yeah.
So how did that start? Did you email them? Did they email you? Or just what started it?
So on Twitter, really, just Andy Ward, who works at the ITV. I'm not sure what his job role is. I think I don't know what he is, but he dropped Cobblers Logs a DM on Twitter and just said, we need a Cobblers fan for a fan zone kind of perspective. And luckily, Matt didn't see the message before, so I got to do it. And then throughout the season, but maybe 4 or 5 times this season when we've, had a good victory. He's asked me just to send a minute video of him, minute video of me recording, just hold behind the camera with the Cobblers in the background. And then that's what I did from there. And it was absolutely amazing doing it. I absolutely loved doing it. Talking about the Cobblers, doing it was amazing. And then come the end of the season, of course, when we had the playoffs, he said, can you come down to the PTS Academy in person? And I thought, wow, this is amazing. And then they got the camera guys out and stuff like that. So it was a real surreal experience. And it all comes from, conversations you have from there, really. And then recently as well, I had the BBC one as well. When he rang me, I said, how did you get my number? And he said, oh, we got it from Radio Northampton. So it clearly, conversations happening between them that, we're sharing contacts in that. But yeah, no, it's a great experience when you get that phone call and asked to come down. It really just shows, how far you've come as a person.
Yeah. So, I have one more question. It was, what was it? It was, okay. So at your age, what, you 17?
Yeah, 17, yeah.
How far do you think this can go? As you're still young, how far?
Yeah.
Go?
Yeah. So I guess, it's so much more really to come. It's at such a young age, I didn't think I'd be doing this already. I speak to quite a few uni students and uni lecturers who teach sports journalism and even journalism at unis and stuff. And they all say a lot of my uni students don't do what you do. And to hear that kind of excites me, considering these people are 19, 20, 21, and I'm still 17. And what you'll learn is, as you grow up, is work experience is so hard to get. And, and especially when you're under 18, because you can't actually technically do it because it's, how the rules are now in England. But yeah, I really want to go far. I think how much I've done at the moment is amazing. And it's quite surreal when you kind of look at it in a list. I'm quite like, how have I managed to do this in such under a year? But no, I've still got, a year at college and of course uni after. So it'll be interesting to see how far I go. But yeah, the dream is to commentate on BBC Radio Northampton. I'd love to do that. But a lot of people have said that you can probably do that quite easily. But of course, the dream would love to work on BT Sport or Sky Sports. But
that would be the top.
Yeah, it really would be, and what I've said is, what I want to do is I want to be, because you do see in football nowadays that you see punditries and you see like lead kind of people. And there's a lot of football people because it's quite easy for footballers to go into journalism because they're such big names, Roy Keane, Patrice Evra, etc., etc. But there always is that one person who's not that person. And I kind of want to be that person and kind of prove to people that you don't have to be a footballer to be a journalist. You don't have to be someone to do well in life and stuff like that. And that's what I want to try and aim to achieve. But just take it one step at a time. When I turn 18, it'll be 10 times easier with work experience and that. Because when you're under 18, you legally can't do work experience. It's called like shadowing because of like paperwork. And if you break your leg, you can't sue the company or something stupid. But yeah, it's exciting times. And, when you see like yourself and a few others, young, I just try and say to them, just email people as much as you can because the amount of no's you receive, it's endless. The amount of no's especially in this lockdown, since starting my own podcast, I've emailed endless of clubs asking for players. I emailed every single Premier League club and the only club that got back to me was Brighton. It just shows that, you get endless no's, but if you don't ask, you never know, so that's what I'd always say is just keep asking, getting your foot in the door because a lot of places do take people. You just have to just keep asking.
Yeah. What did Brighton say out of interest?
They just said that can we wait till the season's over? Because I want to just try and get a few. Since the start of the podcast, I just thought, oh, you never know, try your luck with a few Premier League players, because that definitely would raise the profile of the podcast. And they just said, get in touch with us near the end of the season and we'll see what we can do. But yeah, I'll definitely will pursue it, because even if I don't get a starting 11 for Brighton, even a young player, or it's still a Premier League footballer at the end of the day. But yeah, it just shows, these clubs, what you're learning is a lot of football clubs now, it's not up to the player, it's all up to the club behind the scenes. If you ask, this is the Cobblers, for example, I've interviewed Chris Lines and he was happy to do it, but he needed confirmation from the football club to do it. And that's the same for Keith Curl and all the, footballers around, even some at Cambridge. I've asked, they've said we need permission from the media officer, and it's just protecting their backs, and that's totally understandable. And it is always a bugger to get over that hurdle, but the best thing to do is create a relationship with the club. Luckily for the Cobblers, Gareth Wilshire, he's the head of media at the Cobblers, and I do know him. Well, I don't know him personally, but he knows of me. I know of him. So I've kind of got that relationship with him. So it's easier to go with him. He always says to me, don't try and ask the club. Don't always ask the player for interviews. Try and ask the club first, because the club will usually let you, unless it's something, personal, like, for example, let's say like Harry Smith, when about his betting addiction and stuff like that, they probably wouldn't be interested in doing an interview on that. But if you just want to have a general chit chat, they're quite happy with it. But yeah, I would say, in terms of Brighton, I definitely will pursue it. But yeah, that's what I'm currently at.
Yeah. Was it you or Matt who interviewed Charlie Good the other week?
It was me.
Yeah, that must have been something.
Yeah, it was. I got a phone call in the morning from the BBC. Sam Reed, who's a journalist, he just said, "Can you come down to the stadium? We want to do an interview on a fan's perspective." And like I said, he got his number from Radio Northampton, which was okay. Like, they're clearly exchanging numbers, which is a good thing. I said, yeah, happy to come down. He's not a massive football fan. We got down there, and that was the day the retain list kind of came out. So they were all having their personal one-to-one meetings. So, Harriman was walking in, all these young lads were like half an hour each in, one in, one out kind of thing. And Charlie Good managed to come out at the time we coming in, and he just said, like, oh, can we have an interview? And Sam said to me, he said, who's that? I said, Charlie Good. I said, he's the captain of the Cobblers. You've managed to, this interview will be banging now. And he was like, oh, right, yeah. I was like, oh, bless him. But then I started talking to him, and they just said, because we're not massive like football kind of people, can I record you talking to him just so it kind of covers my side of it? I said, yeah, sure, no problem. So I kind of had a chat with Charlie Good. Sadly, I didn't record it on my phone, which is a shame, because I would have loved to record it and put it, like I said, on my radio station or somewhere abouts, because it's, Charlie Good's not someone you get to interview every day. But yeah, it was really good chatting with him, especially from a fan's perspective, loving Charlie Good and interviewing him was a definitely dream. But yeah, with the BBC, and then he left, and then we did the interview. But yeah, Charlie Good, he's an interesting man, bless him. He he said so much positive things about the club and that, and there was some stuff you can't always ask a footballer. I wanted to ask him, will you stay next season? But I guess that's personal information which neither he knows, or whether he won't tell a 17-year-old. But yeah, no, he's a good lad, and that an experience in itself. Like I said, to have that phone call from the BBC just saying, like, can you come on? It just shows that someone must have said something somewhere for them to ask me. So like I said, it's nowadays, it's at school, what they say is GCSEs. And funnily enough, I'm going back to Moulton School to do a talk where I grew up, year 7 to year 11, went to Moulton School. Funny enough, I'm doing a talk next year going back to the students, but they bang on about GCSEs, and as much as GCSEs are important, you start to learn when you leave that it's not all about GCSEs. It's about who you know, not what you know. Unless that's personally on to me. If you want to be a scientist, you need grades. I'm luckily enough, sadly, I'm not that intelligent to be needing those grades to be a scientist. But like it's in different fields. Some people, if you need to be a scientist, you need grades 8s and stuff. But in terms of kind of what I'm doing, is more who the experience you get, than kind of what grade you have.
Yeah. Step away from the YouTube. How did you celebrate? I think it was like 2 Mondays ago when we put 4 past Exeter.
Yeah, it was amazing. I watched it with my mates, socially distanced, in a garden, and it was great. We went back to the Six Fields. Sadly, I had to leave at like 11:30. My mate stayed till 2 a.m. with the players. Shame, really, but it is what it is, really. But what a night it was for the Cobblers, and it just showed, that was such a busy day for me in itself. But in terms of the Cobblers, yeah, it was amazing. Such a long old season. You just kept pushing, and at times you're a bit frustrated, especially at the start of the season. I didn't want Keith Cole at the club. I just felt that, especially the first 10 games, we were just awful, and I just thought this team's too good to not go up this season. But he did it, and when I spoke to Chris Lyons this season, Chris Lyons said to me, in the nicest way possible, he didn't like Keith Cole's style of football. But he didn't say that in a way that he said it in the way that he's never played it. But you can't moan because they were still winning games,
Yeah.
So he said, because Chris Lyons, everyone knows Chris Lyons is a ball-winning midfielder, likes the ball at his feet, play out wide, etc. He didn't do that one bit this season. He literally pumped it. That's all he did, and that's why he didn't technically say those words. He kind of implied that his style of football wasn't being used himself, but at the end of the day, Cobblers were winning not winning every game, but we were winning majority of the games. But yeah, the playoffs was something special, especially that first game when we lost. It was definitely some upset Cobblers fans. Yeah. But somehow we did it. And what a surreal moment it was. And, next season's going to be, whatever happens next season, it's going to be Sunderland away, Portsmouth away, Ipswich away. So it's amazing.
MK, Peterborough.
Yeah, exactly. Peterborough, rivals. That'll be. Hopefully, we can actually win this season against them, because recently it's always been we lost against them. Justin Edinburgh got sacked. We lost against them again. Hasselbank got sacked. So it's just Peterborough, just sadly these last few years, hate to admit it, Peterborough are better than us. But never know, next season could have a few surprises.
Yeah, especially Ivan Toney could be off to Brighton, I've seen.
Yeah, he's definitely going to go. I don't think he's going to stay around. I could say he's playing Championship or Premier League football next season. He's just that's the same for Charlie Goodall, I think, as well. It's going to be interesting because Ivan Toney's I hate to say, but he's a cracking footballer.
Yeah, he is.
And I don't want him playing against the Cobblers next season, because it'll make our life 10 times easier if we're defending another Peterborough striker compared to Ivan Toney. But yeah, I hope he goes, and I'm hoping that there is some kind of sell-on clause in there that Cobblers get a percentage of the cash from it, because otherwise, it's not really worth the money, is it? But no, I think hopefully there's some sort of sell-on clause in there that Mr. Kelvin Thomas will get off, and then it can be injected back into the club.
Yeah. Thank you for joining me in this Q&A.
I cannot pretend if I don't. I can tell the fake from the fraud. Out here checking.